I, 26 male, kicked my pregnant girlfriend, 22 female, out because she is not willing to contribute to our household bills. For about 10 months now, my girlfriend and I have been living together. At the start, she really wanted to pay rent, but I wasn't sure about it. Eventually, she convinced me, and she paid for the first month. But then I found out she's having a hard time with money. She can't afford things, she's got a lot of debt, and she's barely getting by each month. We agreed that she would start paying rent once she sorts out her debt. Skipping ahead to Christmas, I discovered something shocking. It turns out she's been taking my clothes to give to her family as presents. I found out about it after 2 weeks of her blaming me for the missing clothes. But when I showed her the video from the living room camera, which we use to keep an eye on our dog when we're out, she couldn't deny it anymore. Later on, I stumbled upon some messages and letters on her phone that revealed she hasn't been trying to pay off her debt at all. She showed me messages from her mom and sisters, constantly asking her for money. Even though they never pay her back, she feels bad saying no to them. Her mom alone owes her over $6,000. She's taken out many loans for her family, but they never repay her. Thankfully, her credit is so bad now that no one will lend her any more money, but she still tries to help them out financially. To make matters worse, I found out that she spent $300 on gambling websites in just 20 minutes. And during all this time, she hasn't contributed anything towards rent or bills. She occasionally buys groceries or Starbucks, but that's about it. I finally had enough and told her she needs to start paying her share. If she can afford to give money to her family and gamble, she can surely contribute to our household expenses. It's not fair that she's been taking advantage of me while she should have been focusing on getting out of debt. Despite me earning about 5 times what she does, I've tried to be fair. We split the bills based on our incomes. She makes around $1,400 a month and pays $600, covering rent and part of the bills. I cover the rest, even though it's a lot more. I don't mind as I think it's fair. But then, at the start of this month, she drops a bombshell. She says she can't pay rent. She blames it on spending too much on Starbucks and groceries. She tells me to wait for it, as if it's not a big deal. But I don't get why she thinks it's okay to skip rent this month when she's been living rent-free for the past 9 months. When I asked her where all her money went, she accuses me of being controlling and says it's none of my business. Sure, she chips in sometimes when we buy groceries, but it's not even close to what I pay. So I made a tough decision. I kicked her out yesterday and told her she needs to find somewhere else to live, but there's a twist. She's pregnant, and now she's using that to make me feel guilty, saying I'm throwing out her and our child onto the streets. I feel like she's been taking advantage of me and putting her family first, even over our own family. I'm just so confused. What should I do? Update 1. I had a serious talk with her early last week. I told her that we're a family now, especially since we're having a baby. I said if we want to make this work, she has to be more open and contribute. I also made it clear that she can't keep getting into debt and expecting me to bail her out. I even asked to see her bank statements because I suspect she might have a gambling problem and owes a lot of money. She agreed to everything and promised to show me her bank statements whenever I asked. She also said she'd start helping out with the bills. I thought maybe things were getting better, so I let her move back in. But then, last night, I was sitting next to her phone when a message popped up. It said she got approved for a loan from some lender. I confronted her about it, and she started crying, saying she's broke again for the month and had to get a payday loan. I told her she should have come to me instead of getting another loan, especially after I told her not to. She also said she won't be able to help with the bills again. She works full-time and usually makes around $1,200 to $1,400 a month, depending on her hours. But she often calls in sick, so she gets less money. When I asked to see her bank statements, she refused, saying I'm being controlling and that she already promised to show them to me, so I don't need to see them. That was it for me. I'm pretty sure she's either giving her money away again or gambling it. I gave her a scenario. Our baby is hungry, and there's no food in the house. What are you going to do? She says, "You gotta pay." I say, "Sure, I'll take care of my son." I think she's lazy and always asking for money. I want to check her Facebook messages to see if her family asks for money too. But all her chats are deleted. She says she deletes them to keep it neat, but mine is still there. I say, this won't work. She says I'm too controlling. We agree to stop talking. She sometimes messages me, but I ignore her, except if it's about the baby. I need to move on. Some people wonder if she's really pregnant, if I'm dumb for getting her pregnant, and if the baby is mine. I've been to every scan, so I know she's pregnant, but because she lies a lot, I'll make her do a DNA test in court. Update 2. After a couple of weeks, I found out she was crashing at family or friends' places, so I let her come back home because she's pregnant. This was about a month ago, and I was worried about the baby since she's now 8 months pregnant. It was a silly decision on my part, and I'll tell you why I regret it. I moved to a new house a couple of months ago, and she helped with packing and unpacking while I was out, mostly unpacking. I had a good amount of cash, about $400 to $500, in a drawer of a cabinet in the living room. It was a Christmas gift from my parents. During that time, I also sold some old furniture, including a sofa she really wanted me to sell to her mom. I reluctantly agreed. She said her mom kept asking to borrow money from her to buy it from me and asked if she could pay a few weeks later. I said not a problem. Her mom came to get the sofa, gave me $100 cash up front, and said she'd give me the rest in a week. A week passed, and she said it would be next month, but she wasn't happy because the sofa had collapsed, and she wanted me to come take a look. I said it was fine when she took it and I wasn't going to check it now. If she didn't want it, I'd take it back and sell it to someone else. She said I wasn't welcome in their house. My girlfriend, now ex, told her there was nothing wrong with the sofa when it was picked up, and her mom said she wasn't welcome either. Then my ex blamed me, saying I was controlling and she didn't need to argue with her family because of me. So I went looking for the money, searching all over the house. It's not there, but everything that was unpacked is still here, even little things like a blown light bulb. I ask her where the money is, and she gets defensive right away. She says, "It's somewhere," and I immediately think, this is the same answer she gave last time. As I pieced it together, I realized something crucial. Both the money I received as a gift and the money I received for selling my sofa were in 10 bills. It struck me that she might have taken my money to give it to her mom as payment for the sofa. Essentially, I ended up paying myself, minus what she took. When I confronted her, she callously replied, "Even if I did take it, I don't care about you anymore, so I don't need to admit it." It suddenly made sense why she was eager to secure a loan around the same time she might have taken the money. So, here I am, letting her back in for a while, and she's already back to her old habits of stealing. Though I lack concrete proof, all signs point to her as the culprit. And if everything else in the house was unpacked, then she surely took it. Now she's threatening to expose me to everyone, painting me as the villain and warning them not to associate with me. I've finally kicked her out for good, and strangely enough, I feel relieved rather than sad. While I may lack concrete evidence, her reaction serves as all the proof I need. Now, I'm determined to ensure the paternity of the child through a DNA test upon birth. I'll do whatever it takes to prevent my child from being raised in a toxic environment like hers. She's a poison, and people like her rarely change. They only become more adept at taking what they want.